in a cubicle toilet, and a stick with like a skull comes underneath the toilet door, and I'm like, what the heck? And this voice I just hear says, "Can you kiss my dead mum's skull?" And I'm like, what?
Welcome to a new episode of Hop on Comms, the show where we peel back the curtain on the gaming world and meet some of the incredible people that make it such a special place. On today's episode, we catch up with Alia. Ali and I have known each other for a really long time here, since working together back in the olden days of, Activision and Call of Duty and interviewing and being at these events together. Over time, we've become good friends and see each other quite regularly. Of all the guests we have on this show, he's someone who I would consider a friend outside of work, in real life, IRL. I've asked him lots before about his past. He has amassed a subscriber base of over 40 million across multiple channels. He's been around the block since 2009 on YouTube. I really wanted to find out more about what makes him tick each and every day and the evolution of his channels over time and him as a creator as well. I've talked to him about his story of, how he got to be where he is previously. But what I really liked about this particular conversation was finding out more about the intricacies of what goes on behind the scenes of making YouTube videos, what goes into actually making content, the team that he has, the way in which he orchestrates, obviously getting older now. He's been in the business for 15 years. The way that he delegates with having a family, the way that he works around having a busy schedule, but also giving himself the freedom to enjoy his personal time, which his successful career has given him the ability to do. I really hope you enjoy this. And it's something that I've been looking forward to doing for a long time, chatting to someone who is a good pal as he is. Be sure to subscribe, and if you enjoy, let us know, drop us a comment, give us a like. But for now, here's Alia on Hop on Comms. Ali, you uploaded your first video in 2009. How has the YouTube landscape changed over the years in your view?
Wow. I mean, now that I think about it, that's coming up to 15 years ago, which means I've been uploading videos for almost half my life, which is kind of scary to think about. The landscape's changed so much. If we go back then, 15 years ago, the end of 2009, when I uploaded my first video, talking over you capturing your video game footage was really weird, and only a handful of people did it. And then that slowly snowballed and progressed as people decided, actually, this is something that I really enjoy watching, and the viewership for video games on YouTube grew. It went from just uploading gameplay to talking over gameplay, talking with your face on screen over gameplay, to playing live. And there's been so many iterations of this form of gaming content, through sniping montages to then moving on to vlogs, of moving into gamer houses, to challenge videos, to now we're at a point 15 years down the line where, I've got a team of like probably almost 15 people helping me run multiple channels across different games and genres of video content. It's been slow, progressive steps, but when you jump across 15 years, a lot has changed since that first video. It's kind of crazy.
Wow. I mean, those different eras of YouTube, as you mentioned there as well, is that something that you think is everyone's experience, who kind of started way back, the kind of beginning of YouTube? Has everyone kind of experienced the same thing and had to evolve as well in their own way?
Yeah, I think if you want to stand the test of time on YouTube, you need to evolve, and your content needs to progress in some way. You see some creators that are really successful for a period of time, and the thing that made them successful, that video that blew them up, they often repeat it because obviously it did really well one time. Let's make sure we do it again. And then they repeat it a few more times and it starts to die off, and then they're stuck. They don't know what to do. They've had something do well, but what's going to do well for them next? And I think the one thing that I'm really proud of over the years is just constantly trying to look forwards, constantly trying to change what I'm doing, constantly trying to make it bigger and better. And you have to evolve, you have to adapt, and you have to constantly improve, because someone that's a good YouTuber 3 or 4 years ago someone could come in now with loads of innovative ideas and exciting ideas and push them off, and there's someone else that's top boy on the block. So It's super competitive. My processes for making content is I love to create structure and repeatable formats where you can almost copy and paste something and repeat it a few times, but that only works for maybe 6 months, a year, and then suddenly you realize that that thing that was doing really well a year ago isn't doing quite as well. Back to the drawing board. What's new that we can do? What can we improve? What are other people doing? So there's a lot of improving and constant changing all the time for everyone that's big in this space. You can't sit still and just do the same thing over and over.
I mean, you talk about evolving. There was a time where you were the COD king. You were the king of COD. Like, those Call of Duty videos. You started morphing into making more kind of Fortnite videos until you shifted entirely across into Fortnite. Was that a strategic move, or like that you kind of foresaw in the distance happening one day, or is it something that naturally evolved when you started to see the success of kind of other games like Fortnite?
So yeah, I started my channel on COD. The first video I uploaded those 15 years ago was on Call of Duty, and I still love Call of Duty, but there was a point where COD content on YouTube just wasn't doing quite as well, and it came at a point where my channel wasn't doing great when Fortnite was having its initial launch, sort of late 2017, and I didn't know that that Fortnite would blow up, but I jumped on with my wife Claire actually, and we were playing in the evening, and I was like, let me put out a few videos. And I remember my Call of Duty videos at the time would go out, get some views, and die off quite quickly, and they weren't doing great. Put out a Fortnite video, got some views, it was okay. Woke up in the morning and the views were still holding really strong. As a content creator, you've got to react to that. And I was like, okay, this is what the people want. This is the next thing, I think. So I did a thing where it was Fortnite Fridays, where I'd upload one Fortnite video every Friday. I was still doing Call of Duty throughout the week. And if people really, like, if people had loads of likes on that Fortnite Friday video, I'd then do another Fortnite video on Saturday, and the videos were just going crazy. So it was a mixture of, I've been playing COD for ages, was a little bit burnt out on it, the content wasn't doing very well. This new game came along that was super fun. I'd never played a Battle Royale game. I hadn't gotten in on the big trends with like H1Z1 and Battlegrounds prior to that. So for me, Fortnite was like my big introduction into the world of Battle Royale. And I just loved it. So I was like, you know what? I think it's time to pivot. There's obviously that awkward point where a lot of my Call of Duty fans that I built up, or millions of Call of Duty fans that I built up over the years, like, well, where's Call of Duty going? But ultimately, it's a merge of, this is a business, this is my job. So I need to do the things that are bringing in the views, and I'm a lot happier doing it. And if those two things can come together, it was a no-brainer just to switch more to Fortnite and focus on that. And obviously, the game's been huge for the last 6 years, really. So it was a good move.
Looking at your stats, your kind of, look at the data that comes out of your channel or channels, have you always been very much someone who is looking 24/7 at demographics, where the views are coming from, and changing where you need to? Has it always been something, even now, all these years later, that you're keeping tabs on just to ensure that you're always delivering the best content to the right people?
Yeah, YouTube is a numbers game, and obviously you need to be making great content. You need to be creative, and there's lots of things that make a good video. But ultimately, understanding the back end analytics and what your audience wants is a huge chunk of success as well. So I've always been a numbers guy. I loved maths at school. So YouTube being based around subscribers, views, and all these metrics that you get on the back end of your YouTube channel played really nicely into that. And a lot of the very early success I saw was jumping on trends and finding things within the YouTube space that worked really well and capitalizing on them before people had even really caught on to why or how something was being successful. I'd already done it a few times and set myself up. Like back in the day with Call of Duty, no one was doing any informational videos. If you wanted to find out about the next COD or find out what's coming next, you have to go on a website and read an article, which obviously no one really wanted to do. So I would basically source this content, reach out to these websites and say, hey, if you get any Call of Duty news in, can you tell me first? And then I'll link back to your article in the video. And I started to become like the guy for all of the Call of Duty news. And And the back-end analytics were showing me, people were searching for this, people were coming across my content, the retention was really strong, and all of these things that basically form a successful YouTube video. And over the years, I've taken my foot off of the analytics a little bit at points, and that was definitely detrimental. Like sometimes you get too comfortable, you don't think you need to pay attention to it, and that's when you start slipping back. And that happened during the Fortnite phase. I remember sitting down on the sofa with some friends in my house, and one of my friends who also does YouTube was saying how much time he spends looking at the back end, and I was like, mate, don't even look at it anymore. And I remember thinking, that's a really dumb thing, Ali. And like the next day I was like, well, I need to look into my analytics more. And I put my foot back on the pedal again of like working out what holds retention well, what people are actually watching and clicking through on. And to some people, it may be really boring, but it's also just a really crucial part of videos. And I actually have someone on my team that's like a dedicated content strategist, we call him, where he deep dives the analytics of what holds people's attention, how we intro videos, what visuals we're using, how much time is my face on screen. So there's a lot of things that go into making a video that just appears like maybe I've sat down and talked to camera for 5 minutes. Hours and hours have gone into it behind the scenes before that's even happened.
I've talked to other creators in the space, and it's talking about like certain tinges of colors on thumbnails, these little kind of nuances with different things that do have a massive impact, and also engagement. And I know that lots of people watching or listening will be fascinated, and we'll talk about that more. But with the side of things like the evolution again, if there's a game that comes in and takes over Fortnite, like I remember when you went from Call of Duty and suddenly the Pokemon craze, Pokemon Go, for you and Claire was absolutely enormous as well. Because you've always been a massive Pokemon fan, and that was a really nice, I guess, like moment in time between Call of Duty and Fortnite for you as well.
Yeah, I was really lucky during that phase. I think the great thing is a lot of people did jump on Pokemon Go during its successful phase, which honestly didn't last too long after its initial launch. But a lot of people were like, this game's doing huge, let me go out and play it. And they just didn't know what they were talking about. And I basically had my alia channel with all of the Call of Duty content on it. Luckily, I'd launched a second channel called More Alia, which was an extension of my video game interests, which had Mario on it, Minecraft on it, and it had a lot of Pokemon on it. It had Pixelmon, which was like a Pokemon Minecraft mod. It had card opening videos where me and Claire, my wife, would just sit down and open packs of cards. So like I already had a little bit of an audience there that knew I loved Pokemon. And then Pokemon Go came out and I just jumped on it again. It was like the ultimate mix of love for a game and content creation coming together. And it was such a fun time. It was incredible. And yeah, it was I'm really grateful for that game as well, because as you said, like Call of Duty was a little bit down at that time as well. Fortnite wasn't out, and it was a really nice bridge of me staying interested in YouTube and having something else to make content around. And there's phases of my career where, if some things didn't happen or if some things went a different way, like maybe I would have stepped back from YouTube entirely or just like taken a break and not come back. I don't know. But these different games that have come out have kept me interested and excited to make content. That's why I've been here for 15 years. And Pokemon Go is a big one. I still play that game. Absolutely love it.
I was definitely one of those people who, when I was having coffee with my wife that you know very well, and I suddenly saw him on Pokemon Go that a Snorlax was down the street. Mate, I just got up and said, "I'll be back in 10 minutes." I just legged it. I just left, and
that's impressive.
It was impressive. Yeah, she won't let me forget that, but it was it felt important. And just so everyone knows, I did catch the Snorlax.
Come on,
everything was fine. Come on,
let's go.
This is OG Pokemon Go as well.
That was one of the rarest back then. That was good.
That was a rare one. I mean, with these games that come out like Fortnite, if there's another game that does come out in future, would you happily switch again if you saw there being like this kind of real kind of like surge of interest in a particular title?
Yeah, I think about this a lot, and I think YouTube's in a slightly different position now where it's still possible to pivot to a different game for sure, but now there are so many established creators within different games that like to simply cross over to a new game. Like, for example, the one that comes to mind is obviously GTA 6. That's coming out, I think, end of next year is when the rumors are saying. So I am definitely preparing for that game. but I don't have a GTA dedicated channel or much of like a specific GTA audience necessarily. But as a content creator, it's important for me still to think about that. However, me just saying I want to make a GTA 6 video versus someone that's built a GTA 5 channel up for the last, 10 years, competing against that's going to be really tough. So pivoting isn't as easy as it may have been in years prior, where content niches weren't quite as competitive and it was more open for creators to come in and establish themselves. I'm actually launching a new channel again, which is going to be just an extension of even more Fortnite content, but also has the opportunity to branch into other games and could be a pillar that I use to introduce some GTA stuff, some GTA 5 stuff leading up to GTA 6, and then ultimately potentially have it hosting GTA 6 content as well. So I'm always thinking about how channels could pivot or could move and how I can prepare for different games coming out, because it ultimately is important. Although to some people, like let's say you're only interested in Fortnite, don't care about GTA, and you see me, for example, doing some GTA content, you may think, well, I know Ali is a Fortnite creator. Well, this doesn't make sense. But if I want to stay in the game for another 5 years, another 10 years, however many years, I also need to make sure that I'm covering the games that are most popular. And of course, I need to enjoy it as well. Like one game, Roblox, no offense to Roblox, it's a great game. I think I've made a few videos in Roblox, to be fair, but actually playing it just gives me like nausea. Like the graphics aren't great. And that is a game, for example, where I thought about, should I launch a Roblox channel? Should I get into this game? It's massive. But I just don't think I could do it simply because I just don't really enjoy playing the game. So there's always a line there where I won't go into something just if it's successful if I don't have any excitement for it myself. So yeah, GTA 6 is one I'm definitely thinking about. You never know what other games could pop up as well. So you've always got to be ready to swap and jump in and test the waters with other games. Just in case something big comes out.
I would say you're seen very much as a family-friendly creator as well.
That's true. GTA 6 probably doesn't align with that massively, but I could just drive some cars around and abide by the road rules, maybe.
But again, you've transitioned from Call of Duty, which I guess is seen as a kind of more adult kind of title. Then you've got into Pokemon Go. Fortnite kind of is in that weird space of like kind of, kind of kid-friendly, but middle. But then going into GTA 6, I guess, again, your audience obviously is also growing up. They're also getting older as well, a lot of them. So I guess you're kind of catering to all your different audiences, and that must be something you're thinking about as well.
Yeah, it is a funny one because I will get recognized out and about by someone that's like my age, around 30, maybe a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older. They've got kids now, they're a normal working adult, but they will have sat down as a kid, like a teenager when I was making the videos, and watched my Call of Duty videos. So they're, a lot older now. And then you've got kids that are really young that are watching my more alia channel and some reaction videos there. It's a wide breadth now of demographic and ages that have watched my content, which is really, really interesting. I probably don't think as much as maybe I could do about capturing the audience as they get older. I'm more interested, I guess, in often just capturing new audiences and making sure that there's always a flow of people coming in to watch my content. But with something like GTA 6, and I do have a Call of Duty channel, I just don't have enough time to play the game anymore now that I'm a dad and running other channels. And when I do post those Call of Duty videos, they don't get a crazy amount of views, but it's still really cool to see people that maybe haven't watched my content in like 5 years, see this video float on their YouTube homepage and decide to click it and watch it and catch up on what I've been doing for the last few years. So I'm aware of it, but sometimes people will just grow up and grow out of your content. And maybe if I play a game that's a little bit older, I can pull them back in again. You never know.
Well, I mean, now that you are a parent, as you said, that must have changed things a lot as well in terms of your schedule. But have you also started thinking about, when kids get older, they see their dad, like, and the scale of what you've done as well. How has it changed your schedule, and has it had an effect on the kind of stuff you're making at all? How has it changed since you became a dad?
Yeah, I honestly think being a dad has, it's obviously there's some tough points, probably mainly just around sleep when the little ones are so young. Like, you're getting up multiple times in the night, And then if they get up at 6 a.m. and they're wide awake, doesn't matter how little sleep you've got, you're up at 6 a.m. and that's your day starting then. That's probably been the biggest adjustment. But I think both me and my wife, before having our little one, Theo, we would stay up really late. Like when Warzone was big during the pandemic, me and her would stay up till like 3, 4 a.m. playing in the morning. And then obviously you're not getting out of bed until like 11, midday. But as soon as the little ones come along, like I kind of naturally wake up now around 6:30, 7, and like I'm good to go. I can survive on less sleep. I may look a little bit more tired than I was before, but it has really helped, actually, I'd say, my workflow and routine, and created more of a structure where I work between the hours of like, and anyway, starting between sort of 9 and 10 and finishing around 6 p.m. And at 6 p.m., that's like a hard cutoff. I try and finish early if I can. Time to go downstairs, feed Theo, play with Theo, start his nighttime routine, get him to bed. A few hours for me and Claire to have dinner, watch some TV, do whatever we want to do with our evenings. And then the cycle starts again. And Monday to Friday, my working days, 9 till 6 are my working hours. It's very structured. So it's weird. I think a lot of YouTubers have this freedom of working whenever they want, however they want. But I think carving it back into a more traditional work hours and work structure actually helps so much. And having a little one has done that, and it's actually been great. So yeah. And weekends are free to do whatever. Don't really check my phone much, like proper weekends. And it's so important to do that, to then be excited for Monday again, to start working, making new videos, and not burn out, basically. Because if you're not careful, you're working too hard, you're going to just blow up on yourself, basically.
Well, because you've been at the top for such a long time now. And I mean, having the freedom that you've managed to craft, it seems as courtesy of this, a team of 15 that you've amassed as well. It must be such a different game now compared to when you're doing everything yourself. The editing, I think everyone knows, is one of the big things that everyone takes the most amount of time, really. I'm keen to learn more about the management of that 15 that you've got here. So how are you curating what you're making video content wise, and what is that 15 team? Who's in terms of what their roles are? What do those 15 people in the team do?
Well, so I think the hardest thing for anyone that's done videos for a long time like me is that you've done everything. So letting go of any part of that process feels like you're downgrading in a way. Apart from the editing, I never really enjoyed editing. So when I first brought on my first editor, Aaron, during the Pokemon Go days, it was just game changer. But a lot of the things like coming up with thumbnails, even making the thumbnails, structuring videos, finding video ideas. Because I've done that for so long, you've almost like built an algorithm in your head for being able to look at YouTube and be like, yeah, that's a banger, we got to try it. Or coming up with a fresh idea that only I can think of because I've understood the content game for so long. But what I do is I try and find people on my team that are all EU based. Not that I don't like anyone outside of EU, but it's only just time zone wise. If I'm working 9 till 6, I need my team to be around during those hours. And if they're halfway around the world and they're not up when I'm up, it doesn't work. So I've tried to build out a sort of EU time zone team, and basically built in the things that I don't enjoy and offloaded to people. So editing's one of them. Thumbnails I actually do love making, but there are people out there that do it a lot better than me. So I've got dedicated thumbnail designers. I've got now people that sort of almost channel manage for me, where essentially when a video is edited, they're there to help go through the edit, give approvals, changes, final sign off on a video, do the uploading for me, schedule it for me, put all the thumbnails on. Little things that obviously I've done every day for the last, for the first 10 years, but those little things, if an editor's finished a video and we need it out and I'm on a dog walk or something, like we need someone else there on the team to do it. So all of that's offloaded for me. Rather than me coming up with all the ideas, a lot of my team members now actually present me ideas, presenting them as complete as possible. So even the idea, his thumbnail ideas already structured to the video already. And then we can put ideas into a calendar system that we use. A program called Notion, where I'm not great at using it, but someone in my team is, where you can basically create whatever you want to rank video ideas, put video ideas onto a calendar, assign work pieces to different people in the team, and we use that as a hub as to everything we're doing. So if you ask me what video am I uploading on the More Alia channel on the 15th of July, I could probably tell you 2 months in advance, because we've got all of those ideas ready to go. So without being super specific with who does what and listing people exactly, it's almost like building a layer of management that can sit underneath me that I really trust, and then give them the people underneath them to execute the work they need. So editors, thumbnail designers, and some people I've even pulled on recently just to do little menial tasks that I don't want them doing that would take up their time, that they can offload to someone else as well. So 15, it does sound like quite a lot, but I try and keep the team quite lean so that I can oversee everything still and input when needed, but also it's not taking up too much of my time that I'm not on camera. Ultimately, the idea of a team is that I can record as much as possible, everything runs smoothly, and we're still holding the highest standard of quality we can.
With this team as well, are you sourcing them by kind of putting out social posts? Is there kind of, because I think finding collaborators I think you can trust at the same time is quite to have access to the channel to upload things. There is a certain layer of trust you have to have with these people too.
Yeah, finding people is really hard, and some roles I should have filled years ago, but I tried to do it and I just couldn't find the right people. And one thing I always say to anyone who wants to get into YouTube is, rather than trying to be the YouTuber, if you can be a person that a YouTuber needs, that is so much more valuable and probably so much higher in demand than the saturation of actually being the person creating content, because so many people are doing that already. One thing I do is just ask on socials, and a lot of the time it's just, young kids that are like, I want to help you, Ali, but really they're just a kid. They don't have any work experience. But sometimes you get some gems of people tagging other people and people within the space that know each other. Often just asking people within my team who they recommend and have worked with is a really good way of going about it. And there are a few websites that have cropped up over the last few years where they are literally just like a job sourcing site for YouTuber roles, which can be really, really helpful. But then for me, the criteria is I get along with them. They seem like a nice person, have good time management skills and work, and have ideally worked a normal job. A lot of the really talented kids and people in this space have only ever worked in the YouTube space, but sometimes lack the ability to communicate well, just be around at the right time. And normally if someone has actually worked a job, they've got those skills already. And if they maybe lack in some areas of very niche specific YouTube knowledge I need, I can just train them to understand that and get better at that. And then you've got someone that's going to work really hard for you and is willing to learn and get better. So it's a whole process, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but I'm really happy with the guys that I've got around me, and I'm always looking to pull people on every now and then if I need a bit more help as well.
Because you've worked around other people that obviously have come up as you have since that kind of initial period, the likes of KSI and others, and that kind of, and Syndicate and other kind of, creators. You've seen the kind of the Sidemen and the kind of evolution of the Sidemen over the years, and kind of the dominance as well. I remember you did a shoot with them, like a hide and seek shoot as well.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
You saw their production setup, for you went behind the curtain and saw that. Was it as big as you expected? Was it kind of because you see they're producing so much constantly, whether it be podcasts or kind of short form, or kind of Sidemen Sundays. Were you kind of surprised at the scale of the team as well? Was it as big as you expected? Was anything interesting about that process? You were like, wow, this is a different level.
Yeah, I think the Sidemen are probably, world leaders in the YouTube space of having built a group brand and grown that brand and created additional brands around them. I've known those guys since they were individual channels before they were together. And if I was to put myself on a scale, I'd say I'm towards the low to maybe medium-sized teams that YouTubers have, whereas these guys are right up there and being quite big. And I believe the way they went about it is similar to what I just said about how I tried to hire. They brought people in from a space that have had great work experience in like big businesses, running large teams, etc., and then learned the YouTube knowledge they need around it. So they now have studios where they can just go in, film a video for 30 minutes, bam, on to the next one. Film a video for 30 minutes, bam, on to the next one. And everything else around that needs to be organized, all the logistics, etc., is offloaded to someone that has done, big team logistics before for another company, for example, and this is just easy for them. But if you tried to give that work to anyone within the Sidemen, they'd be lost. They wouldn't know what to do. So they've really effectively grown a team around them. Super exciting to see those guys grow and continue to grow and see what other stuff they're launching in the space. Yeah, they're on another level for sure. One thing that I'm always conscious of is like, how much do you want to scale? How much will that impact, the work-life balance you got at the moment? And how much will that take away from the core of your work? As in, if I said I wanted to launch I wanted to launch my own video game, how much time would that take for me to actually dedicate to versus, being able to maintain the YouTube videos I put out? And some YouTubers get a bit distracted, work on a project or something that sounds really cool, slow down on the actual thing that the audience wants to get from them, which is YouTube videos. And then they go to launch the product and their YouTube following is a lot smaller than it was and it doesn't work out. So Sidemen don't do that. Sidemen do a great job of prioritizing videos, making great videos, and then launching from that. But that's something I'm always conscious of, is like just being able to maintain the work-life balance I've grown and not eat too much into that free time as well.
I mean, how do you retain authenticity with this kind of, I guess, professional manufacturing of content as well? Is there what's that balance like for you?
I think when it comes to making videos and having a team help you make videos, etc., ultimately, because I've made so many videos, I think it will always come across, I hope, as me like having fun on camera, enjoying myself, being relaxed, and still being me. And ultimately, if I'm trying to create a video piece of content that doesn't reflect that, then I just wouldn't do it. But yeah, you've got to be careful that you're not too far removed from the things you're offloading to other people, especially when it comes to content creation. That's still a true reflection of what you want to make. You actually being on camera and in the content and enjoying yourself as well. I think if there's any advice I can give to anyone that does want to be that person on camera and does want to be the one actually creating content, it's just make sure you enjoy it. And if you're doing something for the sake of blowing up, but then suddenly you're stuck doing this thing you don't enjoy, it's not the right place to be, and you don't want to be there.
Because you've tried your hand as well at mainstream too. Like you've launched books, you've had TV series as well. Was it alia Superchargers or something or other?
Yeah. That was really, really fun.
You see others have launched music careers, and there's only a hand, I guess, like kind of a small group of creators that have made it into the mainstream. Is there still a desire to work in that space and to kind of be more on that kind of on the front row of what's happening in mainstream, or are you content being very much like digital, kind of online based exclusively?
Yeah, so doing those things are really, really fun. We launched a book maybe 6 or 7 years ago now, a book that I still think is awesome called Alia's Adventures, fully illustrated comic book, and did some book meets and signings around the country, which was awesome. Again, it takes time out of what you're doing day to day as well, so you've got to make sure you're maintaining the audience on YouTube, and you're launching a book that the audience enjoy it. The great thing is a lot of parents bought that for their kids. They loved it, got them into reading. Fantastic. TV shows, I've done a lot of I've done so much sponsored work over the years where I've worked with so many incredible brands, and the way they work is, come to a location, shoot for 2 days to make like a 2-minute advert. So different to the way YouTube works. And it's been great experience, great, being on camera with people around you, not just sat in a room with no one around looking into a camera. And the alia Supercharger show was really, really fun to film. And I love, one thing I do really enjoy about those experiences is that you're around people all day, and it's really social. You get to chat to people you'd never normally talk to, learn a little bit about them, their life experiences, and just gain knowledge from other people that I would never talk to normally. But the trade-off there is that these things take so long to film and record versus, I can sit in a day and record 3 to 4 videos that are all high quality that I'm going to be launching on my channel versus film for a few days on TV and put out one piece of content. So I don't really have any interest in going back to anything mainstream. I really like being known by like a niche audience and like a specific audience, where if I go down a street and it's just, a load of older people, they're not going to know who I am. But if it's a group of kids, they probably will know who I am. I don't have any interest in just being known by everyone and anyone, in mainstream by going into TV, radio, etc. I'm very happy with just having my audience online and sticking with that and just trying to grow that as much as possible.
There must be some unique instances that you've spent time with fans, though, that you've bumped into fans. There have been some strange, because over the years, you've been around for such a long time. You've been to, events and expos, live stages and E3s and all sorts. Those kind of interactions with fans, anything particularly that sticks out for you? There's surprising situations courtesy of the fame you found?
I feel like I forget a lot of them, to be honest, but generally everyone's really nice, really, really sweet. Like we were in the gym yesterday, mum came up to me, was like, my kids love your videos, can we have a picture? I'm like, yeah, absolutely fine. Generally the way people approach me dictates how I am. I'll always be nice, but if you're a bit weird about it, you're trying to snap a picture without me realizing, I probably do realize, so definitely don't do that, please. Just come up, say hello, more than happy to take a picture and chat to you. And one's on the weirder end. We were like at a gaming event in Abu Dhabi, was it? I think
it was, yeah.
So halfway across the world, and obviously, like if I'm at an event, I need to go to the toilet at some point. But there's not just like VIP toilets, whatever it is. Like I'm in a toilet, there could be anyone there. And I've had it where people have like literally come up to me and be like, "Yo, Ali," and I'm in the toilets, and I'm like, "Nah, mate, we're going to do this at a different time. Like we'll do this outside." But yeah, there's a really weird one in a cubicle toilet, and the stick with like a skull comes underneath the toilet door, and I'm like, what the heck? And this voice I just hear says, "Can you kiss my dead mum's skull?" And I'm like, what? I mean, obviously it wasn't his dead mum's skull. It was like some plastic toy he had, but I just was shocked. Like I think I tried to delete that from my memory. It was such a weird experience.
It was mental. You came back because we were doing a stage event together, and you came back and went, I said the strangest thing just happened in the toilet. So I was like, this could go anywhere. And when you said that really tickled me. I thought that was such a bizarre thing to happen. But I guess you're going to meet lots of fans over the course of your time. And now I guess that kind of, there is a price for fame in some degrees. Do you think there is a price for the fame you've had? Has it a cost to you and like, your personal life or mentally? Has it affected you in some ways with the success you've had online?
I think there's definitely been moments. I think I've been lucky enough to have, like really nice audience for most of those 15 years, which is great. I think the only time where it wasn't great was when like the whole alia meme intro blew up in like peak Fortnite. So like 2018, the game was really fresh. I was getting like 200 million views a month, long form content on YouTube. So, everyone knew who I was in the Fortnite space, which is great. And, things were going really, really well. But then so basically I used my intro, like a visual intro that was only a few seconds long, played some big, like exciting EDM music and led into the rest of the video. But the internet took that intro piece and then played it in front of like funny clips and like basically became a meme on the internet that a lot of people knew, right? So way outside of my audience. And it went from like, before that point, I didn't really ever worry about bumping into fans or people saying hello or whatever, because it was always just gonna be nice. If you watch my videos, like you're just gonna say hello. But then from that point onwards, it was like, I could run into someone that knows me just for that reason and has no real interest in who I am or cares who I am or has watched my content. And it's just like, you're that guy from that meme. And then at that point, it became like, a bit more apprehensive about these fan interactions because I don't really know what they're going to say next. Is it going to go one way? Is it going to go the other? And that's kind of died down now. Like it doesn't really happen much at all. But during that period, it was like, oh God, like I hate being recognized. Like, this is just so stressful. I don't enjoy it at all. So that's probably the worst time, I'd say. And it definitely leaked into the rest of my life. But generally, everyone's really nice and it hasn't been a problem. And, you know, I've been all over the world and recognized. I was recognized in South Korea once. I was recognized in Bali, like Spain, all of these places where it's like, damn, you know, it's crazy thing that people all over the world have watched my content. So generally nice, but as with anything, when you get this big and you have this much of a following, you've got to accept that you're going to have to sacrifice some of your personal life. I quite like the fact that my audience like kind of sits within a specific demographic, like anywhere between like, let's say 8 and 18 probably is a general most watched sort of age for my content. So I do a lot of things during the day, during the week, if I'm going out, and it's just, I'm not really going to bump into that audience because they're in school, they're in college, they're busy. So I don't need to worry about it. And on weekends, obviously things are a little bit busier. So gotta be a little bit more careful about where you go, but it doesn't stop me from getting out and doing things. And like, I don't mind saying hello to people. So yeah, it kind of comes with the job, I guess.
Have you experienced burnout? You mentioned about the that time that you were kind of recognized a lot for the wrong reasons because of the meme. Was that a time where you felt a form of burnout? Let's take a step back. Has there been other instances where burnout's become a thing for you? And if that is the case, were there any precautions that you made sure to take so that it wouldn't happen again in future?
Yeah, I think there wasn't, thankfully, an association of burnout with that period of like, you know, the meme going big because my content was doing really well. So it's actually great. Like, you know, when I'm back home, sat behind my desk, you can forget about it and just keep making videos and they're doing really well. I think I never experienced burnout for years. I like literally worked every day, Saturdays, Sundays, moment I woke up until early hours in the morning for years, just loved it. And then there was that period, probably around maybe 2015 or so, where Call of Duty really slowed down. I think it was Call of Duty World War II, maybe. Things just started to slow down. The videos that did well on YouTube changed. And I was like, oh, I just don't know what to do anymore. Like the things that I'd done for the last, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years at that point to get good views, to get people to follow me, just was suddenly not as interesting to my audience, not doing as well on YouTube. And I'm like, what do I turn to? And I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to get up and make videos because these videos aren't doing well. And that was my first period of like, damn, this sucks. Not sure what to do. Then Pokemon Go came out, but then Pokemon Go died off really quickly as well. And then I was left in the position where it's like, well, now Call of Duty's not doing well and Pokemon Go's not doing well. You know, what's going to happen next? Luckily, Fortnite came out, and I've had moments where Fortnite content slowed down a lot as well. And I've always just tried to find something else to get excited about, to make content in. And I think the biggest thing for me to avoid burnout is having those constant breaks where it's like you get weekends off, you get evenings off. You really need to divide your headspace between work and other things, basically. Because as a content creator, when you're really grinding to be at the top and staying at the top, it's all you're thinking about. But you need to not be thinking about it at times as well, because it's just not healthy otherwise. Taking good breaks, trying to offload things you don't enjoy to people that do enjoy it to help you out. Obviously, not everyone can do that, but if you get into a position where you can, like offloading editing, offloading things you don't enjoy, that's also a huge help. You know, having great friends around me, trying to do physical things like you and me head to a gym. We try and, you know, move our bodies a little bit, have some fun, hang out, see my family, my little one, my baby, obviously. Like all of these things that I build up around YouTube. I think I put all of my eggs in the basket of content creation when I was younger and nothing else was good. Whereas now it's like I've got all of these things I'm interested in, all of these things I'm balancing. And if YouTube does slow down or have some other things or not do too well, it's like, hey, I'm just benched 100 kilograms. Like, let's go. You know, there's other things that are exciting and I can focus on so that all my mental energy and isn't just on one thing, basically.
It's been nice actually having each other as mates, going to the things like the gym where you have people working kind of similar worlds, and you can bounce off people. Like, you talk about, like, you trust people, like, kind of, you can kind of, because you have the same understanding of the world that you work in. And that's quite, that I think that's quite nice. Plus, Ali's getting big. Like, he's like a beefcake these days. I'm not even joking.
No.
He is, the alia fitness channel's coming. I can feel it. It's gonna one day. But you know, with the you know, the negativity that you mentioned, you know, coming from the meme kind of time as well. Did you find that was a lot of creators that you either knew or didn't know were kind of jumping on that bandwagon? Did you ever feel they were, or did you ever kind of confront that, or did you kind of ever have a conversation with someone who was part of that movement at a time?
I did actually. I think the only person that ever did it to was actually Ninja. So I think everyone used it at some point, and like it was kind of lighthearted, or like I knew them, so it was like I knew that they were just doing it because it was a meme. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we know each other. We're friends. We can joke about it. And me and Ninja didn't really know each other that well. He was huge on Twitch. I was huge on YouTube at the time. And there wasn't much overlap. And I remember him using the meme intro, I think, in one of his YouTube videos, just as his videos were blowing up. And I was just like, because there wasn't much overlap at the time, it's like he's then introducing that idea, that meme, to a whole new audience in the Fortnite space that don't really know me. So it's spreading it in a way that it was ultimately often came back to me as being negative. So I remember reaching out to him and just being like, yo, like, I'm sure this wasn't malicious, but I'd appreciate it if you don't use that in your content. And he was actually really nice about it and like apologized and like said it was obviously a joke and it wasn't serious. But I think that's the only time I actually reached out to anyone specifically about it. I think the one person that actually blew it up and made it a thing was actually PewDiePie himself. I think at the time Fortnite was huge and he didn't really care much for Fortnite or enjoy it much. So the way he'd make Fortnite content is basically just talking about drama in the Fortnite world and looking at memes and stuff. So I was featured heavily in those videos, and those videos got like tens of millions of views. I don't think I ever had a direct line to him to talk to him about it necessarily. I don't even think he has Twitter anymore, and now he's living in Japan with a kid. I'm sure we'd actually get along really well, to be fair. But that really escalated it. And again, what overlap is there between an alia audience and the PewDiePie audience? Probably quite minimal. I couldn't exactly reach out to him and say, stop spreading this meme. It was just what he was doing at the time. But no, just like anything else, I knew it would move on. I knew people would forget about it. There'd be a new meme in the next few weeks, months, whatever, and people would forget about it. So, I mean, people do still bring it up as a joke, but really it's something that happened so long ago. It's thankfully a little bit more in the past now.
Yeah, I think it's definitely moved on since then. I'm always conscious of like the feeling as well of the anxiety it must kind of induce when you see someone, you know, a prevalent other creator who uses your face or name, whatever the title. There must be a feeling of anxiety thinking, what am I going to walk into when I watch this? Or I'm sure other people who are trying to get clout of some sort will try and jump on the bandwagon for views as well. Do you feel an anxiousness, or is there, how do you feel when you kind of see that you might be used as a way of someone else getting views as well? How does it make you feel?
Yeah, I think that's maybe only happened a handful of times. Again, when you're right at the top, like in the Fortnite days, because it was so big, people would turn to the people that are the biggest. Ninja himself, for example, he's probably got it a lot worse than I ever have with the memes and the things that have come out of moments he's had online. Like, everyone turns to the most recognizable people in the space. And I had a little bit of that during the Fortnite era. But now I'm not necessarily the biggest. Fortnite itself is like not quite as mainstream as it was. But you have those moments where people and content creators will jump onto a name of someone or a trend just to try and capitalize on views and getting their own little bit of attention. I always just straight up ignore it. It's the best way to be. Often, again, like my audience doesn't really overlap with their audience. They're just trying to actually leech off some of those views or interest at the time. But I try and just ignore it, crack on, head down. Like, I know I'm not being a bad person or doing anything ridiculously wrong. So I try and just focus on what I'm doing and stay in my lane. And it will move on eventually, and my audience will follow along with me. So it's okay.
One thing I love about what you did regarding your icon skin, because you are a person in Fortnite. You're one of the few,
Yes.
the handful of select, I don't know, 10, 15 people that gets to be actually a character you can play as, or kind of wear outfits, back blings, you name it, which are all alia. The process there when you were deciding on the emotes, and what was that process like from the design perspective? And did you always want to find a way to address that negativity in Fortnite as a way of saying, I'm owning this, it was who I am? What was that process like for you?
Yeah, I mean, the icon process as a whole was so fun. Like, it was basically just giant email chain between the correct teams at Epic and myself for each part of the process. So, the musical sound team for the emote, the designers and concept artists for the Fortnite skins and imagery, for example. I can't go into super specific details, but every time they sent me something back to look at and review, it was so sick because you were seeing it progress in real time from like a 2D sketch to becoming a 3D thing and becoming colorized and becoming in-game. And the way that I did my feedback, and I don't know how other creators did it, I don't think they did this, is every time, first of all, I set what I wanted out really clearly. Like, I had a really good idea of what I wanted, which I think really helped them run with the idea, and was probably one of the reasons I got so many different styles and color choices and edits to my skin, is because I think we knew what we were working on from the beginning, so they had more time to build in these additional features, which some of the other skins don't have. So I was really clear on what I wanted at the beginning. I actually think someone on my team suggested the whole riding a Diplodocus with the alia music playing, like rolling two memes together. One of the smaller memes is that when Fortnite, it was Chapter 1, Season 5, they added in some dinosaurs to the island, and I drove up to them, driving my friend Rich around. I was like, it's a Diplodocus. I genuinely thought that's how you said that dinosaur. I think you just say Diplodocus or something. I don't know.
I think it's Diplodocus.
Diplodocus.
Or Diplodocus, one or the other.
Yeah, mate, there you go. Still can't say it. That's just Diplodocus is what I say now. So we merged those things together, and as you said, it was kind of like owning it. And I was like, this is like turning this weird negative thing that reached people that it didn't really need to reach back in the day into reversing that and getting my icon skin more exposure by sharing that out to the world again. And people loved that emote, and it was a really successful part of the icon set. But every time Epic Games would send me anything, I'd sit down and screen record and talk to them almost as if I'm making a video, my exact feedback, my exact thoughts, like, and I just send it off to them as a video so that the team could sit down, watch it, and there was no confusion on what I liked, what I didn't like. Generally, I was just really excited, and I think it was nice for them to see that excitement as well. And I used that video feedback process for the whole thing. And then, yeah, we launched a creative map alongside the icon skin. I revealed my icon skin within that map. I live streamed all of it happening. It was such an exciting reveal, and like one of the highlights of everything I've ever done on YouTube and within the gaming space. It was incredible. And since then, only a few people have had icon skins. There hasn't been any new icon skins in a while. I'm sure we'll get more in the future, but it's such a select group and a privileged group to be in, to say I've got my own skin in game. Like, obviously the skin I use every game, and yeah, it's amazing.
Because you'd found a way on all your videos to basically use what was available to you from other aesthetics, other outfits, and kind of make yourself with the backwards cap, with the back bling. And then when it's like, okay, I see that, but then actually having your own skin.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Crazy.
was I remember when it went live. I remember I was away with my family, and I saw it, and I was so excited for you because I thought that was a real chapter closing of that negativity. When that happened, I thought you must have felt a real weight off your chest to say, do you know what, that is done now, and I've owned it, and everyone, as you said, embraced it and loved it online. The support creator code aspect of things as well. Obviously, people are talking about support creator a lot and how that kind of influences things, because I think the natural assumption would be that when you're in the game, Epic Games have paid me millions and millions to be in the game. it's not a case. It's very much like a case of, I think, as far as I know, and do elaborate here, that you're in the game and it's just, that's great, but it's on you to kind of make this a thing, your audience.
Yeah. So I can't talk too much on it, but ultimately, with the launch of an icon skin, and even outside of that, like, the best way for someone to support you is to use your creator code when purchasing anything in the item shop. And, you know, you're lucky enough to have the privilege of getting your skin in the game, and working with Epic Games. And when your skin launches, the best way someone can support you as a creator is using their creator code. You'll see this when anyone launches their skin, like, even other creators will be like, use their code right now. Like, this is their moment. As much as everyone pushes their own code, it's all about, you know, supporting that person. And the kickback that they get from that as a creator when their skin goes live is the best way to look after that person, support them, you know, congratulate them. Epic Games basically set up this thing called Support a Creator. Fantastic feature that no one else had done. I think Call of Duty tried it for a bit and I think they stopped it, where 5% of anything you spend when a Support a Creator code is entered goes straight back to that creator. I believe the initial idea with that was that if I'm a creator telling people to use my code, I have to show the item shop because you enter the code in the item shop. So I think Epic Games' idea behind it was that the more people promoted their code, the more they were basically advertising the item shop and what was in the item shop. And they did and it's basically marketing for them. Since that's how Epic Games make money in Fortnite, it's just the item shop. So that's something that I've pushed for a really long time, ever since I got one. When I first got one, it was actually an awful creator code. It was, hey, it's me, alia, because I think the creator code was linked to your Epic Games name, and that was my Epic Games name back then. I managed to get it adjusted to just be alia, alia, super simple, super easy to enter. I think it helps a lot. The shorter your code, the more likely someone is to enter it because they'll remember it's easy to spell, blah, blah, blah. But the kickback that I've seen over the years from people using my code, like, it's still huge. It still helps me a lot to this day. It's still like one of the best ways to support me, support any creator. And very, very grateful that Epic Games came up with this system and continue to support the community and the creators that are making content for Fortnite.
I wish I'd chosen, obviously, surname being Savage, I wish I'd used Mr. Savage as my code.
Oh, that would be great.
That would have been huge, him being one of the premium players in Fortnite. I've got one, it's Sav, S-A-V, it's short.
I like that.
Thanks, mate. But it's not, Mr. Savage would have been unreal. That would have been perfect.
Or just Savage. Sav's a good one, though. Like,
Sav's
three letters is good. Yeah.
It's simple, it's straight to the point, it's fine. I wanted to ask about games real quick before wrapping things up here. Are there games that you, obviously talk about Fortnite and Call of Duty and Pokemon, are there any games that you're playing that you haven't made videos on, that you're playing offline on your own at home, that you don't get a chance actually to make any content on?
I'll be honest, I think Claire, my wife, plays a lot more than I have over the last few years. Shortly after our son arrived, we sat down on the sofa, me, my brother, and Claire, and we just watched Claire play through Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy. Brilliant game. They should have given that game DLC. They should have put Quidditch in. I don't know what happened there, but the game itself was awesome. What else? Claire got really into a new game recently. Oh, I've forgotten the name. What's it called? What's it called?
I think she was talking to me about, was it Baldur's Gate 3?
That's it. Baldur's Gate 3. I think she's played through the game like 4 or 5 times. Absolutely addicted. Anything with character customization, she absolutely loves. For me, I've played Fortnite and okay, one thing I have done recently is they've allowed emulation on your phone. So I've re-downloaded some of the old Pokemon games. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, I think are the best Pokemon games ever made. They're remakes of Gold and Silver, and quite old remakes, but all the Pokemon follow behind you. It's a beautiful looking game. It's still pixel art. So me and Claire have been playing through that recently on our phones, and I am addicted. But to be honest with you, don't really play much games outside of work. Even Fortnite, I should play a little bit more than I do. I try, and now in my spare time, like, hit a golf ball, try and get outside the house, go on dog walks, or do things around the house, or see friends, hang out. So it's kind of like boring adult stuff, to be honest with you. I'm waiting for that next game to come out to really pull me in and get hooked again. So we'll have to see.
I'll have to see. It could be GTA 6. We don't know yet.
I think it could.
I think it could be.
Never know.
Last thing, Ali, top 5 games. This is how we're going to do this now. We're going to finish on top 5 games of all time, why you love them, what they mean to you. What are Ali's top 5 of all time?
I'll start from the bottom up. So at number 5, I'm going to go for, it's going to be quite Nintendo focused, but Animal Crossing. Absolutely love that game. Played it a lot originally on the GameCube and then hours and hours on the DS, and was absolutely hooked. I'd wake up early before school just to pick all the fruit off my trees, sell them to Tom Nook, and then literally go to school and then play the game, basically. It's all real time. Number 4, I'm going to go for Call of Duty, just because it's obviously made my career, love that game, and just had so much fun, met so many friends in it. It's incredible. Number 3.
What's the specific Call of Duty? Is there one?
Black Ops 3 or 2. Black Ops 3 and 2. I think not only do I associate that with my channel doing incredibly well, but I enjoyed the game the most, and I love Treyarch Call of Duty. Like, I'm a massive Treyarch fanboy. So the rumors are the next COD will be Black Ops something by Treyarch. So could be a reason for me to get back in the game massively. So that's my top pick. Some people may disagree or agree. Number 3, I'm going to put Fortnite. Maybe a bit controversial putting it above COD, but I think just I've never been so into a game for so long. Like, the fact that Fortnite has just updated itself. Like, we've never had a Fortnite 2 or Fortnite 3. It's just Fortnite is a live action service game where it's just updated all the time, and I'm still hooked. And I've got my skin in it, so it's got to be high up on the list. Number 2, got to be Mario. I'm a big Mario guy. I think some of the first games I ever got into were Mario, Super Smash Bros, Paper Mario, Super Mario Sunshine, DS Mario's, completed and played them all. There's just so much nostalgia around that brand. The number 1's got to be Pokemon. Like, I absolutely love it. I think I'm now getting to that age where I realize I'm getting old because I'm so nostalgic to the older Pokemon. And when the newer ones come out, I'm like, kind of cool, but I mean, they're not quite as good as the old ones, are they? So I still love all the new Pokemon games and still play them as soon as they come out. And I still get excited for whatever's coming next for Pokemon as well. But probably my top 5 right there. Yeah, I love all those games.
It's a solid top 5. I was going to ask you specifically which Mario, but you basically listed all of them, and they're all just as good as each other. That totally counts. Ali, thank you so much for being on Hop on Comms on the show, dude. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Yeah, it's been super interesting to kind of learn about the inner workings of how things have evolved over the last 15 years for you. And I look forward to catching up with you soon, bud.
Yeah. See you in the gym soon, mate.
See you in the gym soon, bud. See you soon. Cheers. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Hop on Comms. You can be sure to support the channel by liking the video if you did, leaving us a comment as well. We love reading those. And of course, subscribing to the channel to ensure that you never miss an upload as well. We are across all audio platforms, on socials as well. You can find each of those in the description down below. Thanks for taking the time out to watch this, and we hope you enjoyed Ali being on the show.